Greetings Indie Warriors and welcome to I Dream of Indie. My name is Old Gamer Joe, bringing you another review today as we head back to 1992 when you fortunate souls out there that owned a Sega Mega Drive were playing horizontal shooter Gleylancer, hopefully anyways. Indeed, it wasn't until 2008 that Gleylancer finally found its way to North American shores with a Nintendo Wii Virtual Console release, but now it returns at last in all its glory and we are playing the ever so slightly updated Nintendo Switch version of the game for this review. With this version of Gleylancer, you're getting new translations for the cutscenes, which is really nice, along with some accessibility options that should make this a game even more casual shmup fans will now be able to complete, because before, well, it probably wasn't an easy task beating these 11 difficult stages. To my surprise, Gleylancer features a halfway decent story that involves a young girl named Lucia setting out to find her father. Dad's Federation was devastated by enemy forces, and now Lucia has to fly the only ship capable of succeeding on what would otherwise be a suicide mission, and while the ship known as the Gleylancer isn't quite ready for the big show just yet, desperate times do call for desperate measures. I would say the biggest change to this version of Gleylancer is the ability to rewind your gameplay. By holding down the L button, you can reverse time itself, thus avoiding death while also learning how to dodge the many bullets and machines that are out to kill you. You can even go as far as being able to change the speed of the rewind feature. It's great for those that would just like to see the game to its conclusion, as well as for the folks out there who want to practice up before testing themselves on a legitimate clean run. You also have the choice of two different versions of the game. You can choose modern or vintage. With the vintage, you're getting more or less an exact replica of the original while removing the rewind option, and modern will allow for you to aim your ship's gunners with the right stick and give you some fancier subtitles. The controls in Gleylancer are not very difficult to learn, but this is certainly a challenging game to try and master. You can fire away with the Y button, lock with B, and even speed up the overall speed of the game itself with a press of the ZR button. Cranking it all the way to 4 will make the game feel incredibly fast, while slower speeds will ease you in a bit more, but can also make some of the attacks that will be thrown your way nearly impossible to dodge. Personally, my favorite aspect of Gleylancer is the ability to attach various guns to your ship, which leads me to selecting a mover system. This can fundamentally change the game in quite a few different ways. If you select normal, you'll find you can aim off in 16 different directions with the gunner shooting in the direction you're facing. You can select reverse, which will, well, reverse that. You can also pick search, which is somewhat of an auto-lock system that can't fully be trusted. Multi, which allows for a 3-way attack. Shadow, where a gunner will follow your every movement, and then roll, where you'll have the gunners rotating around you. I really like that every choice had its own unique set of benefits and drawbacks, and I did feel this added a bit of replayability to the game and offered new ways to experience the same levels again. You do have some difficulty options here, but whether you're playing on normal as I did or hard as I tested for a while, you can expect a good challenge out of Gleylancer because, yeah, in 1992 there wasn't all that much hand-holding to be had. You're going to find plenty of difficult patterns to master, enemies to contend with, and a savage final encounter that will leave you completely dumbfounded. Gleylancer, like many games of this genre, is tough and will require precise dodging and maneuvering to master. Fans of the genre will love it for that very reason, however. The slightest grazing of a wall can mean a death, and the one-ups are not what I would call common. Still, the game outside of its final encounter and a few infuriating level design choices can eventually be learned and feels rewarding when you do. Being a game that was released on the Mega Drive, Gleylancer more or less looks like what you would expect from a console shoot-'em-up of that era. There is a grittiness to its wonderful pixelated art that still shines today. Environments vary from the farthest reaches of space to atmospheric caves, and there's even a skyline view on one level with the sun setting that I thought was lovely. The parallax scrolling works effectively here, and I love the look of the various enemies and bosses. For me, there is a charm to this aesthetic that the 3D shoot-'em-ups never quite matched, and with some really cool power-ups and explosions that will fill the screen, I quite like the look of this game still even today. I do also have to shout out those great anime-style cutscenes that you get within the story. Those are fantastic and nostalgic. Visuals are, of course, not everything, however, and one of the things I always look forward to most when firing up a new shooter is a pulse-pounding soundtrack. Thankfully, Gleylancer doesn't disappoint in this department. It's an energetic collection of soaring synthy melodies accompanied by crunchy explosions and sound effects that mix together for a lovely audio experience. You'll even get a few voiceover samples that feed into that arcade-style vibe, and while archaic sounding now, they do bring bring with them a sense of nostalgia. And at the end of the day, that's what this version of Gleylancer is all about, being a fun and challenging game that's worth a nostalgia trip. It's not the most technically sound shooter that I've played before. Some of the level design is extremely frustrating, but the new additions such as being able to rewind while they don't sound like much do in fact come as welcome additions. This is a credit roll that perhaps not many of us were able to achieve back in the day, so for someone like me who enjoys playing shoot-em-ups more casually, it's nice to be able to finally check this one off my list. The gameplay is solid here, and while no question some of those level design choices and the final boss will leave you scratching your head, any reason to dip my toes back into that sweet 90s water is welcome by me. Gleylancer is no exception. Thank you so much for watching the latest video from I Dream of Indie. We would now like to take a moment to pay tribute to our great indie warriors who support us through channel memberships. Mitchell Hall, Bunny, Kevalo, Bill T, Christian Cruz, Chris Jackson, Nathan Moore, Peach, Adriana Amato, CJR, PSC, C Coil, Skeptism, Jen Rose, Jesse, CPM, Julian Kolbus, JRS8, Raylan, and Marky Mint. Thank you so much for all you do for independent developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else, please head down to the description box below. Let's defeat the gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.